I'm here on my magical thing with the wonderful Christina Oakley-Harrington, who is the founder and proprietor of the iconic magic bookshop Treadwell's Books in London. I know you, Christina, as occultist, Wiccan, speaker, academic with a doctorate in medieval history.
Yeah.
Okay. And general facilitator of loads and loads of amazing kind of magical stuff across the world, really, but particularly around the awesome spirit that is Treadwell's Books. So it's lovely to have you on my magical thing. Thank you so much.
It's great to be here. I've got my magical thing ready, if you're ready.
Yeah, please, let's have a look.
Okay. My magical thing came into my life as a gift from an occultist, and I'm going to show it here. This is it's a statue of Venus. It's made of bronze, and it's a Venus sort of slightly covering herself. I don't know how old she is. She could be a 19th century tourist item. She could be a bit older. She could be a bit younger, but she's really special to me. She sits on one of my home altars. And, I think of her at the full moon, and particularly at Beltane. So because she's Venus, otherwise known in the Greek terms as Aphrodite, similar but not the same. So the story of how this came into my life is the person who gave it to me is a woman occultist I love and adore, as inspiration to me as a priestess. And all of a sudden I came into work a few years ago, and she was sitting on my desk. And there was a note that says, this is from Fleur for Christina. And so the thing about this magical item, like many of my magical items, is that if they come into our life as a gift, then they carry a little bit of the person who gave it to me. And the priestess who gave it to me was somebody I met when I was, 26, and just joined a magical order. And she was one of the welcoming presences. She was an elder to me. She was all of about 5 years older than me, which is like, when you're 26 is huge, and she was calm and wise and gentle. And so the Venus for me brings some of the calmness and wisdom and gentleness of the donor. So there she is. The other thing that she brings through, this Venus, is the spirit of love and pleasure, which is really integral to me and my magical practice, because I tend to be anxious, over-intellectual, bunched up, all of that stuff. And so goddess of calmness and delight and pleasure, very important reminder about the state you need to be in to engage with transcendent experience or imminent experience. It does not happen, when you're super bunched up. Doesn't happen when you're worried about the deadline or worried about the footnote format, or you got to be in a state of pleasure. So there she is, being a goddess in a state of pleasure. And the last thing about her is that she is a sort of a talisman for me of the totem of my particular tradition of the craft, which has this long relationship to goddess of love, the goddess of love being the goddess of life. And so in the Gardnerian side of the craft, we have this idea that the goddess is especially potent in spring and summer and early autumn. She's the light half of the year. And so as you come into Beltane, there she is. Love, goddess, light, flowers, hawthorn, relax into summer. Again, for me, summer is so much about relaxation, and there she is. She's like relaxed, and she's not being super sexy. She's just like chilling. She's getting out of the bath or something. And again, so there's this long thing that it ties in with an object in the Museum of Witchcraft, which is a pentacle that Gerald Gardner made, which is made of copper, and it has a goddess in a very similar position to this, standing before a Roman altar. And there's this connection to the angel Anael, goddess of, which is the angel of Venus, and Venus's day, and just it goes back to warmth, relaxation, delight, pleasure. And there's a whole side of witchcraft which is very much about moon and mystery and darkness, and there's a little bit about being afraid, but this other side is there, this other strand. I won't call it a side, I'll call it a strand. This strand is equally important, and it ties back into, sexual pleasure, but also friendship, and that leads back to the friend who gave it to me. It's like, you know, there's a Venusian quality about beautiful, long-standing, relaxed friendships. So there she is.
That's fantastic. Let's hold her towards the middle and just a little bit closer, so we can have a goddess
is.
ride, the goddess of pleasure, the goddess of love, the goddess of good friendship. Oh, my dear friend, thank you so much for sharing your amazing magical thing. Thanks,
Thank you
Christina.
so much.
That's
From me and Venus.
all right. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.